This is the Wikipedia page for Seth Herzog.
Hi.
Hi, Seth.
Hi, Seth.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, Victor.
Welcome to WikiListen, the podcast where we read Wikipedia pages and provide commentary. I'm Victor Varnado, KSN.
And I'm Rachel Teichman, LMSW.
Our guest today is Seth Herzog, whose Wikipedia page we are diving into. Seth, thank you for being here.
Right, no problem. I'm Seth Herzog, WKRP.
That is not your call sign.
It is now.
All right, let's start reading it. Seth G.
Yes,
Herzog,
Yeah.
a.k.a. The Zog,
That's
is an
what it
American
says.
comedian. Besides being active in New York City performing comedy, Herzog was the subject of the short film Dog's Place. He also has had small roles in such films as Safe Men, The Tin, and The Baxter. Herzog has acted in numerous commercials and on such TV shows as Late Night with Conan O'Brien, Chappelle's Show, Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, and VH1's Best Week Ever.
Those are all facts, but
Yeah.
it's such a partial resume.
Oh, definitely.
It's like half of what I've done or less.
Well,
It's
there
such
is
a weird way to pick it, you know.
What commercials should I know about?
I don't know. Are you familiar with the 90s? I did a lot of commercials in the 90s.
I was barely alive.
Exactly. The truth is, I did a bunch of Wendy's commercials right out of college. The director, like Wendy's was one of those places where once they liked you, they used you a lot.
Mhm.
And the director and I got along really well. And the first Wendy's commercial I did, I had long hair. There was like a short period of time in New York for like a year, I had long hair. And they hired me because I looked like a dumb surfer dude.
Mhm.
And the first commercial was I walked up to the counter and I was very incredulous to their like $1 double cheeseburger deal. I was like, you guys really selling $1 double cheeseburger deals? And then what's his name? Dave Thomas comes over. He's like, yeah, we are. And I was like, is that cool with the boss? And then he looks up at the camera, wonk, wonk.
Like,
There's a
I
lot
am
more
the
lines
boss.
than that. There's a lot more lines than that. I forgot the whole script.
Yeah, this commercial sounds terrible the way you describe it.
I know there's like a whole scene, but what I remember mostly is how much of a funny curmudgeon Dave Thomas was. He had two lines and he had the script on the counter, like so he could read it, and he kept asking if I was going to get a haircut before the shoot. He didn't like that I had long hair, and he literally kept joking. He's mentioned several times, "Can we get Seth a haircut? Is Seth getting a haircut? When is he going to get a haircut?" And when I first met him before the shoot, I walked into his dressing room and I was introduced to him, and he goes, "You some kind of big comedian?" And I said, "I'm like 5'10", and he didn't laugh, but he looked at his partner and he goes, "The guy thinks he's funny."
The 90s sound like a brutal time to be in show business.
Dave Thomas was hilarious. Oh, the other thing is him and I during takes, we had a long talk about how he never flies.
Mhm.
And how he drives. He has a house in Ohio and a house in Florida, and he drives back and forth all the time. He doesn't ever fly. And I was like, well, do you ever pop into like a Wendy's on the road? If you're on the road so much? He goes, I've never done it. I've never thought about it.
That's so funny.
And I was like, you serious? You should stop into every Wendy's you see and take pictures and sign autographs. He goes, maybe I will. I was like, I can't believe it never occurred to you.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Take it away, Rachel.
Yeah. Sorry.
Early life and education. Herzog was born in Englewood, New Jersey. He grew up in Princeton, New Jersey. I was born in Ridgewood, New Jersey.
Small world. I like that, Rachel.
Thank you.
We're a bunch of Jersey Jews hanging out.
Absolutely.
In 1988, Herzog graduated from Princeton High School in New Jersey. In 1992, he graduated from Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee, with a degree in history and theater.
All facts. Although if you go to the Princeton High Wikipedia page, there's a link to like famous alumni from Princeton High. I'm not on it.
Oh, man.
I'm very upset. Lots of other people I know are on it. I did not make it yet.
Yeah, you got to do something crazy. Maybe
like
slap
be on
somebody.
WikiListen.
Even the people who have done stuff crazy haven't even made it. There's a girl in my class named Dina Taha who, if you guys remember, tried to kidnap a Puerto Rican kid at the Democratic National Convention in Manhattan. She didn't make it.
Well, I guess I can understand why they wouldn't want her on the Wikipedia page.
Career. In the New York comedy scene, Herzog has performed in such venues as Chetty Reds, Rafifi, and
Sorry, I just know that name. So we have a thing on this show. We like if there's new words, sometimes you don't know exactly how they're supposed to be pronounced, and she's never seen Rafifi. So
Right.
yeah.
I'm laughing at not only that you're pronouncing Rafifi, but the fact that someone listed I performed at Chetty Reds as like a thing in my career. I don't know if you remember that. It was like this little bar on 23rd Street, and Randy Pearlstein's sister used to run a Monday night show there. I probably did twice.
I'll tell you what. The reason that they said Chetty Reds is because the reference is Elizabeth Zimmer from Zog's blog in Village Voice.
Oh. We could talk about that article. That was a big deal, that article.
I'm going to start this section over.
Okay, sorry.
Career. In the New York comedy scene, Herzog has performed in such venues as Chetty Reds, Rafifi, and The Red Room. Since 2004, Herzog has hosted a weekly comedy show every Tuesday night called Sweet that began a longtime residency at the Lower East Side bar, The Slipper Room, then moving to other downtown venues. A regular feature of the show is a 10-minute set, which seems much longer than that.
Who wrote that?
I don't know.
Who wrote that?
The reference is from Elliot Glazer.
Oh, Elliot
The
Glazer wrote
apiary.
it. The apiary. Okay, here's the thing about that article. I have so much to talk about. Elliot interviewed my mom and I for the apiary many years ago, and that's where that's coming from. But he interviewed us as a group about our bit. Anyway,
I have a really funny video with you and your mom. The video that I made, where
I love that video. That's one of my
talking
favorites.
about how to talk sexy. It's really funny. I love it.
That. In fact, he interviewed us on that same couch.
Nice.
All right, finishing this sentence. Called What's on My Mom's Mind, during which he interviews his mother, Kira Green.
That's all true. But here's the thing about Zog's blog.
Yes.
I sort of famously lived in a very small apartment for a long time in New York. You know where the Ace Hotel is now? That used to be the Breslin was building, and I lived in this 117 square foot triangle for years, right? And now a couple friends made a funny documentary about me living in that apartment, and the documentary kind of was like underground cult hit, like made kind of the rounds. People knew about it. People would buy it online. People who bought online would become fans of the movie and show up to New York and take pictures of themselves in the apartment. They'd call me up and they'd knock on the door and be like, hey, we're fans of the movie. Can we come over and see it? Like, happened all the time. Anyway, the Village Voice had several times called me about, like, we want to put you and your apartment in the magazine, The Village Voice. And I was like, I don't want it to be that public. I don't want everyone in New York knowing about where I live and living in a small apartment. Like, it's too private. It's my own private hell. I don't want you guys to know about it. Finally, they're like, look, we really want to do this article. It'd be really fun. Like, you're not going to look bad. Da, da, da. So I finally said yes. They made it like the centerpiece of the real estate issue. So it was like the whole issue just on real estate. And it was like the big article. And it also happened to be right when the internet blew up that month. So for years, when you Googled me, the only thing that came up was this giant Village Voice article about my small apartment.
I had the same thing when I posed nude on the Village Voice.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was going to be like, oh, it'll come out one week and no one will ever see it. No one will read it and we'll never hear about it again. And then it now lives forever on the goddamn net.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, it is, man.
How did your picture come out? Your nude picture?
I'll show it to you later.
I can't wait to see it.
From 2004 to 2013, Herzog appeared on the VH1 show Best Week Ever.
That's a lie. I was only on Best Week Ever for about a year.
Oh, well.
And then after that, they moved me to the list shows. The, 100 greatest moments in reality, 50 best videos of the year. So I did that for like 10 years.
I mean, I can understand the article. That's still all kind of Best Week Ever-ish.
Yes. But it is the same thing from an outside perspective, but inside VH1, there's 3 different departments and they all hate each other. There was Best Week Ever. There was I Love the Series. And then there was like the Lists group. And they all competed with each other.
They all competed against each other to make the same thing.
Same show. Exactly right. Exactly right.
In 2005, Herzog introduced movies on IFC.
In 2008, Herzog contributed his voice to the animated comedy web series Amazing the Lion, hosted by the Independent Comedy Network.
Herzog is perhaps best known for his Wonder Woman routine, during which he wears a Wonder Woman costume and does a dance while lip syncing to the Wonder Woman theme song.
I can't believe they buried that. That should be the first line. They buried that.
I was actually talking to Hannibal about you at one point, because when we did Bring Back Laughs, and then Hannibal's like, did Seth do his Wonder Woman routine? And I was like, hell yeah, he did.
I wasn't expecting it. Like, I didn't know that was going to be happening. And so when I came back onto the set, I saw you in your Wonder Woman costume, and I was like, oh, this is happening.
It's so
well. Here's the
beautiful.
thing. I hadn't really done it in a long time, quite a long time. But I feel embarrassed that he asked and you had to say yes. But because it was outside and everyone was so separated, I wanted to come up with some sort of way to like get people's attention and let people know there's a party happening.
It was fantastic. I'm so glad it was there. And right now we actually just signed a deal for Bring Back Laughs, but we not sure we can get the rights to the Wonder Woman music.
That's what I'm saying. That's the problem with doing that bit, is that that song is expensive. But you could just cut the song and just have me in the outfit.
We could, and just do music that's that tempo. That actually might be a perfect idea.
Yeah.
In April 2008, Herzog toured Iraq performing for the U.S. troops.
In 2013 and 2014, Herzog co-hosted Duck Quacks Don't Echo on the National Geographic Channel with Michael Ian Black and Tom Papa.
Later in 2014, he was the overdub and localized version host of Science of Stupid. What is an overdub host?
Okay, I don't know what that is. That's wrong. Basically, I did the Net Geo show with Black and Tom Papa. Then the president called me and was like, do you want to host your own show on Net Geo? And I said, yes, fine. And that they had bought the rights to this British show called Science of Stupid. And I rewrote the whole show and we reshot the whole show with me as the host.
Oh, okay.
So like, it wasn't like I just added my English accent to like Richard Hammond, who was the English host, over his picture. We literally rewrote everything and reshot it all. But there's a whole controversy with that. So the president, whose idea it was to do the show and hire me, he ends up getting fired halfway through production. So all of a sudden, Nat Geo doesn't care about the show anymore, right? They did zero promoting, zero. They dumped it on air, okay? The only promoting that they did was my tweets. That was it, right?
Yep.
But it became a hit. Despite Nat Geo, it became a giant hit. But they didn't hire me back again. They just bought the English version and just aired the Richard Hammond version without having to spend the cost of having to reshoot it all, right? Which is fine. I get that. But now it's such a hit and still continues to be a hit. They have a new version they're doing, and they hired another American host to redo it all.
But not you.
Not me. They hired a different guy. It was Ben something. He used to be on NBC News. Ben Aaron. Ben Aaron. Oh. So now I'm a little bent out of shape that they actually are continuing to do it with another American guy, but they went with a different Jew.
Since 2009, Herzog has been the warm-up comic for and a cast member on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, having previously done the same for Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. He has appeared in sketches on both shows.
That's very accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the sketches get cut. Like what we did last week. I did Ronald McDonald doing a diss rap against Arby's. And there was a whole controversy whether it was going to air or not. So the compromise was it got cut from broadcast, but they put it on the internet as like an internet exclusive.
Personal life. There's one sentence for your personal life.
Oh.
Here it is. Here's your personal life.
In one sentence.
Yes. In 2014, Herzog married journalist and writer Heather Herzog.
That was her name before, so we made it easy.
Ni Prabhakar, is that correct?
Prabhakar is how she pronounced
Nee
it.
Prabhakar.
Yeah.
Honors and awards. 2007, Hebe Magazine, Hebe 100.
I love that. That's an honor and or an award. I had no idea.
You're one of the Hebe 100.
Every year, he did like the 100 coolest Jews in the country, and one year I made it.
What number were you?
Oh, I was like 50 something. But
well,
That's
only
pretty
decent.
good. Pretty
there was
good.
only 3 comics though. It wasn't in order of like who was the coolest, but it was like in profession. Like there was like a bunch of people in like fashion, bunch of people in tech, bunch of people in entertainment, whatever. But the only comics were me and Brett Gelman, I think, were the only comics in that particular 100. So I thought I was pretty psyched about that.
Well, if you have any ins with the judges, I'm a pretty cool Jew, just so you know.
I would love for you to be on the Hebe 100. They haven't done it in 15 years.
That's anti-Semitic.
First, you'll need a time machine.
Yeah. Hebe doesn't exist as like a magazine.
Oh.
It was a very short-lived magazine.
Seth, this is the end of your Wikipedia page. It's that simple.
Is
But
it boring?
I just want to point out one really cool thing in the selected filmography.
I could tell some stories about them if you want.
You did a voice part in Kappa Mikey, and I find that very, very cool.
Do you like that? Okay, let me tell you about that story.
Uh-huh.
Do you know the cartoon?
I never really got into it, but I remember there being lots and lots of commercials for several years for it.
Yes, it was a very cool cartoon. One of my camp friends wrote it, and he created it. And I had done other voices for him for other cartoons. And he cast me as Kappa Mikey. I was the original Kappa Mikey.
You were the original voice of Kappa Mikey?
In the pilot.
That's so cool.
And then MTV bought it. Was it MTV or Nickelodeon? Whatever.
I thought it was on Cartoon Network.
Maybe it's Cartoon Network. Viacom bought it, and they wanted someone else. So after I did the pilot, I had to re-audition. And it was me and this other kid who was like a really big voiceover kid who was like, he was young, but he had done a ton of like cartoon voices. And it was just me and him. We were the only ones who auditioned, and they went with the other kid for the series. But I did the pilot. I was the original one, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then MTV or whoever was like, let's go with someone else. But they went through the formality of making me audition again, which is so stupid. Anyway,
I had to audition once for when they were threatening to replace the voices of Futurama when it moved to Comedy Central.
Oh, yeah.
And so they had a bunch of people come out, but we were pawns. We didn't know,
Right.
but we were pawns. Like I was auditioning for Zoidberg.
You were?
You'd be perfect you'd be a great Zoid.
You could have been
Well,
Zoidberg?
hi, everybody. Let me put my hands on your face and maybe we'll take something, maybe. Like I was
Perfect.
doing Zoidberg.
You're killing it.
And they were like, great job. And then the next day we're like, they made a deal. I'm like, dang, these guys using
They
us
do that.
like
That's
pawns.
extremely common. Extremely
it is.
common. Oh, my Lord. I probably have a funny story about anything you ask about.
Dr. Zoidberg here, looking for some time to hang out with you, maybe.
You're welcome, everybody.
That's the best Zoidberg ever.
Seth, I just want to say thank you for coming here. And also, you're going to be at Dynamo Kingdom on April 20th. Thank you for doing that show.
There's going to be 2 different comedy shows, a dance party. I cannot wait.
It's going to be such a good time. Everybody check out dynamokingdom.com. And Seth, thank you for being part of the show. This has been the Wikipedia page for Seth Herzog.
Thanks for listening to WikiListen. You can find us at wikilisten.com and on all social media at WikiListen, except for Twitter, which is at wiki_listen.
If you have a Wikipedia page you'd like us to read, please let us know.